master of insanity. Did you say I was master of insanity?
Yeah.
Cruel. See how cruel she is? Right? Anyway, I did boots, or muckluck, pack boots and mucklucks. I did layered clothing. Next thing is gloves. Or more so, mittens. Now, I use a shooter's glove for the most part, as you can see. Right? I've had, well, this is an odd mismatched pair. I got these back in the 70s, and I got these about 5 years ago in my splitting wood with a tire. They were brand new, so it's, no, I got them about 3 years ago, and they're starting to wear through. The thing about gloves is that for where I live, you really don't need lined gloves to do work and to move around. I really don't need them until we get into the minus 15, minus 20 range. For that, when I got this pair, alright, I mean, we had gloves that the military had, and they had a great big sleeve that came up over top and attached up here. We were issued 2 pair of glove like this. Or actually, we had 1 pair like this with a shooter's finger, and we had a big mitten. And the big mitten was this massive thing. Just came up for, that was for extreme cold up north. And you need them for up there. But for down here, for most places in the temperate zone of North America and Europe too, you would need an odor. And what's good about these is that you can, as you can see, I took my finger out and I got all my 4 fingers in here, right? And I can actually take my thumb out and put them in there, and as you see, and it acts like a great big mitten, and that'll keep your hand warmer in extreme cold. But you need a liner, and I wanted a removable liner, and I got my mother to make these, right? And they've held up quite well, right? It's a liner, and it corresponds with the thumb and forefinger, right? Works quite well, actually. But you don't have these. These are your next best thing. The mitten. Mittens over gloves every time. When your fingers are separated, wearing gloves. And the sharper the looking glove, right, you know, the nice kip leather gloves and stuff like that, man, you're freezing them. When I was in cadets, we were issued with dress gloves, and, well, we were issued with dress gloves in cadets and reserves and in the, and they issue them in the regular army as well. Dress gloves aren't worth nothing, right? You want a mitten, right? And if you have to take it off, you take it off. Now these have hooks on them. You can run a string through and just have them hang out your sleeves, right, of your parka. But now these here are they have a foam based. They're leather, foam based. I don't use these a lot because it doesn't get cold enough to use them. Or I'll use them when I can't find them, which happens. And I lost one of my mitts. I don't know where I lost it. Anyway, you want something that you can take apart. Oh yeah, this does have a hole in it. Look at darn that. You want something you take apart because, when it's 0 degrees, minus 10, all you need is the leather, right? Keep the wind off your hands, and when you're picking stuff up, it keeps the cold from them. A knitted mitten, oh, hole in that one too. A knitted mitten, right? They're nice and warm, except for when it's in the wind. The wind just blows right through that. See, that's why you want either a nylon or a leather odor. So, you have to consider your hands. And another thing, a lot of people don't realize that you can operate without gloves in some pretty cold weather. Except when the pain starts to go, then you got to get your hands in. I can remember being at the range, and we would be doing a 10 round rapid, and by the time we got down to the 8th, 9th, and 10th round, the pain, it was so cold, right? I take my I would take my glove off to do the shoot, but the pain in my hands was so intense. I mean, we're talking less than a minute. But when you're in a sheltered area, it could be minus. Like if you're out of the wind, you can do a lot without gloves, right? And you'll find they can get quite warm on your hands, and I'm kind of used to the cold here. But anyway, basically, that's all I have to say on them. Always go with mittens over gloves, and make sure they have a nylon shell with a removable inner. Right? I like the removable inner option of it, because then you can just take the inner out and operate with it. Now, I was issued with combat gloves, and they had no liners, and that was just to protect your hands. Um, but there were gloves, and in the wintertime, they just didn't do anything for you. Right? You may as well not even have them. Well, you may as well not even have them. So anyway, that's my personal opinion and my personal take on gloves. Uh, and the beauty about this is, when you got one of these on, nobody knows if you're giving them the bird or not.
You stole that from me.
What? I stole that from you. Look, you stole more of my bits than anybody I know. Right? Right?
And now you're stealing mine.
Yeah. How do I know it was yours? Knowing what you're like, you probably stole it from somebody else.
No, you can ask my sister. She was there when I did it.
With me?
No, when we thought it up in the car one day going to the city.
Oh. Oh. Anyway, folks, till the next time.